Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to yet another Cutter Top 10. Today we're going to be looking at the top 10 emotional tennis moments of all time, as tennis sometimes can bring out the best or worst of somebody. So let's take a look at some tennis moments. I know it's kind of pathetic with tennis, but you know what? Screw it. Tennis is legendary. Anyway, uh, we got to get going. All right, number 10 is the humorous Australian Open speech by Li Na of China in 2014. So Li Na took home the Grand Slam Australian Open in 2014. She from China, Australia. The Australian Open technically is the Asian Grand Slam, if you will. Oceania. She was happy and all that. Her victory speech was both witty and deeply moving as she thanked her team and her husband and helped people in Oceania happy because, the Chinese thing. Anyway, it resonated with millions and showcased the lighter human side of elite competition. Number 9 is the sportsmanship between Novak and Juan Martín del Potro in 2018. So the U.S. Open happened. Novak Djokovic won, excuse me, and he defeated Juan Martín del Potro. However, Djokovic made a heartfelt gesture to his opponent, embracing him and sharing words of comfort. Had the deep camaraderie and mutual respect that exists at the highest level of tennis. Number 8 is Martina Navratilovan's farewell at Wimbledon in 1994. As Martina Navratilova dominated Wimbledon, she won 9 titles in the 80s and 1990. So she looked pretty good. She had a career of 2 decades. The Czech/American player was huge. And when she left center court in 1994, it was just massive. Her gratitude and humility would be matched by only the respect of her peers and all that. So that's kind of the motions of everything. Uh, Number 7 is Juan Martín del Potro's Olympic silver, as he would weep openly after clinching silver at the Rio Olympics because you know how big it was. He had his courage and perseverance throughout adversity, and that was just pure imagination. And he was doing pretty well. You could also say Monica Puig winning the gold at the Olympics as well, because Puerto Rico had never won a gold medal in any event before Puig won the 2016 gold medal in tennis. Number 6 is Andre Agassi's farewell in the 2006 U.S. Open. So Andre Agassi was this great player who lifted a rivalry with Pete Sampras up in the 1990s. And then Agassi would continue through. His tennis trophies would smash. He smashed his tennis trophies after his being mad at his girlfriend Brooke Shields for being on Friends in a weird storyline. But nevertheless, Agassi wanted to win the U.S. Open badly, and unfortunately, he lost in the third round to Benjamin Becker of Germany. However, the CBS cameras were there, and CBS broadcast his farewell, and he made a tearful speech to the New York crowd expressing his gratitude for the support throughout his career. And basically, he said he was happy because he got to share his career with the fans that loved him and all that. And that the fans gave him the drive to be a tennis player. Number 5 is Goran Ivanisevic winning at Wimbledon as a wild card in 2001. This was a massive moment and all that for Wimbledon. Goran Ivanisevic of Croatia was no stranger to Wimbledon's stage. 3 times in 1992, 1994, and 1998, he fell in the finals. In 2001, he was given a wild card, meaning that he didn't have to qualify for Wimbledon, but he would be given a chance to compete. And somehow, in some way, Ivanisevic produced. He was ranked 125th in the world, and he got to the final against Pat Rafter, and it was huge. It was what they called um, Fan Monday or something like that. Because what ended up happening was there were rain problems. Of course, this is before Wimbledon had center court be under a retractable roof. But the fact of the matter is, the rain forced the final to be played on the Monday after the final should have been played on the Sunday. So they just basically let the fans, come in and make noise and be courteous and be cheer for the crowd because Wimbledon, it was basically a hush like a croquet game and all that. But basically, they let the fans take over center court on the Monday, and it was a massive thing. Pat Rafter was a pretty good player himself, but Goran Ivanisevic shocked the world by taking on things and winning the fifth set 9-7 in one of the most dramatic Wimbledons of all time. And all that. Number 4 is Monica Seles returning from being stabbed in 1995. This was a testament to how good Monica Seles was. In 1993, at the German Open, as she was ranked number 1 in the world, some douchebag from Germany by the name of Gunther Parch managed to stab her. Sorry for saying that, but stabbed her like in the back. It was actually a millimeter short of her spine. So basically, thankfully, Seles was not in any massive danger, although she was in danger. It was just amazing what she could do. But yeah, Seles was big. And Gunther Parch's crime was just basically to make sure Steffi Graf became number 1 in the world. Kind of pathetic, don't you think? But it does happen that there's some crazy fans. Worst part is that Gunther Parch would not go to jail. He would be sentenced to 2 years in a halfway house, in a mental facility. Nevertheless, everyone thought Seles would come back, but Seles just couldn't come back. But in 1995, at the Canadian Open, no less, she came back to play tennis, and she did quite well for herself. Number 3 is Roger Federer's 2009 Australian Open speech. Roger Federer would face Rafa Nadal in the 2009 Australian Open. Nadal won. Federer was trying to give his runner-up speech, but basically said, "God, it's killing me." However, Nadal's comforting embrace and the mutual respect left viewers around the world deeply moved. Of course, it was also deeply emotional when Rafa beat Federer at the 2008 Wimbledon after so many tries. But yeah, he did it. But yeah, those two will always be linked forever. Number 2 is Annie Murray winning Wimbledon 2013. The British had high hopes for everyone. 1936, Fred Perry won at Wimbledon, but no British player won a major, much less Wimbledon, or a Grand Slam, if you guess you can call it. No U.S. Opens, no French Opens, and no Australian Opens. The Brits tried. Tim Henman had a few runs at it, and of course Henman Hill was filled, but he couldn't do the job, including 2001 against Goran Ivanisevic. However, Annie Murray from Scotland was bringing up Great Britain in things. And in 2012 at the U.S. Open, he finally broke the British drought of a Grand Slam, winning the 2012 U.S. Open. But Wimbledon would be coming through in 2013. He pulled off a masterclass against Federer, and after decades of British hopes and heartbreaks, Murray finally did it, and the Brits could really celebrate and all that. It was a massive weight for a British men's singles champion at Wimbledon. Heck, that streak is even longer than Canada having someone win the Canadian Open in golf, 69 years. And number 1, got to give this woman her flowers, is Serena Williams winning the 2017 Australian Open while pregnant. Serena is an icon. I mean, yes, Steffi Graf has all those titles and also Margaret Smith Court. But the fact is, Serena did a lot of things. She came bursting through in the 90s and 2000s. She outclassed her older sister, Venus. There were many Grand Slam finals that had Venus versus Serena. But anyway, Serena shocked everyone by not only winning her 23rd Grand Slam title at the 2017 Australian Open, but the fact of the matter is she was actually in the early stages of pregnancy. And most women, when they get pregnant for tennis, they just don't have the movement to do tennis and all that. But it was just inspiring revelation and all that. Serena would try desperately to get her 24th Grand Slam and failed miserably. But of course, as of this taping, there is speculation she will be coming back to professional tennis for 2026. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, yeah, Serena was just basically doing for herself, and she was an icon. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.